Okay, I think we can get started now. And we're also recording this webinar, so I'll be posting it on our YouTube page later for those who aren't able to see it right now. So I'll introduce Aneesh Subramanian from CU Boulder, and he'll be giving an update on the Ocean Uncertainty Quantification Working Group. So take it away, Aneesh.
Thanks, Sam. And thanks for having me all. Yeah, our working group has been active since 2019, just before the pandemic. The current co-chairs are Shane and myself. I'll be giving an update mostly of what um, um, progress has been made since last year, since 2022. Before that, a quick brief overview of our vision, objectives, and goals. So this is the vision and objectives of the group: to develop strategies and identify best practices for improving the understanding, derivation, communication, and utilization of uncertainties in ocean observing and modeling, to make resources on UQ, which is uncertainty quantification, freely available to the ocean observing and modeling communities, such as manuals, pedagogical material, links to relevant community efforts, and to instigate a cultural change in ocean observing and modeling, UQ. The major tasks we had proposed was to develop a community-driven web platform for uncertainty quantification, knowledge transfer, knowledge transfer and strategies, to produce peer-reviewed, sorry about that. To produce peer-reviewed open access articles on uncertainty quantification for observational and model ocean data, and to organize a summer school and or workshop on UQ. So I'll update on each of these tasks. We have made progress on each of them. These are our working group members. We had a third co-chair, Kyla Drushka, who stepped down this year due to personal reasons. So Shane and myself are current co-chairs. We include oceanographers from different aspects of oceanography: in situ and satellite observations, modeling, data assimilation, and this includes the cryosphere also. So ocean and cryosphere modeling, observations, data assimilation. We also include data scientists, statisticians, as well as one science philosopher. Our working group has been developed with federal support from NASA, NOAA, NSF, and DOE. So now updates on the tasks from the working group since last year, since 2022. So in 2021, we had written an op-ed for AGU EOS titled "Overcoming the Challenges of Ocean Data Uncertainty." This was published in early 2022. It was written with input from the whole working group. The authors were Shane, Kyla, myself, and Mike. The key points from this op-ed were: uncertainty completes the data that is provided to the community. Specific challenges of ocean data are exacerbated by obstacles in communicating uncertainty. We identified gaps in guidance. Also, we wrote some of the community-driven solutions that are emerging currently and the future opportunities that are on the horizon. We advocated for UQ in proposing, planning, and implementing of ocean studies across different agencies. The next major task that we had was to develop a community-driven web platform. So we have a version of this currently. It's being designed and maintained currently by the Consortium for Ocean Leadership with input from the whole working group. This would enable continuity of this web platform beyond the lifetime of our working group, since COL is a long-term organization. COL recently, or in 2022, moved under UCAR administration. Our server as well, which was previously maintained via GitHub, has been moved onto the UCAR server. So currently it's being hosted on the UCAR server and maintained with the help from COL. We have a framework for the web platform as well as initial content, which I'll present in the next few slides. We made a soft release in mid-2021 via the GitHub website, and currently the UCAR hosted OceanUQ website is public. We are working to add content as I'll list in the next few slides. So the contents, the main categories of the contents that are currently online on the website, we have a blog section where we have blog posts written by members of the working group. And we have also invited some community members to contribute to this, mainly those with UQ expertise, relevant papers or techniques that have come out recently. This is a collection of informal but informative pieces describing OceanUQ concepts and techniques. And the target audience is oceanographers, from students to professional oceanographers. Next steps, we would like to include more blog posts. We are always looking for new writers. So if any of you are interested in contributing a blog post about uncertainty related to oceanography, cryosphere science, please reach out. We would be happy to host the blog here, and we'll be happy to work with you in shaping the blog as well. Our next section is for code repository and code maintenance relevant to UQ. So we have some example code there produced by one of the working group members. This is a place to share scripts and code relevant for uncertainty quantification techniques, different examples. And I'll come back to this again when I talk about the summer school, where we plan to have a lot more code on this website as we work towards the summer school. The code visualization is done with GitHub Gist, which displays a static view of the notebooks that are hosted on GitHub. So viewers can easily grab the code themselves if they're interested. They can also clone the GitHub repository. The code complements the blog. Some of the blogs can be associated with code that is hosted here. And we can also have standalone code which doesn't have a blog post. That is also welcome. So we're working towards including more code examples. We will populate this more as we work towards summer school tutorials. Working group members are working on Jupyter notebooks for the summer school, which will go into this section as well. Again, if any of you would like to contribute code here or have your code hosted here as an example for uncertainty quantification, please reach out. We'll be happy to work with you on that. The third section in the web platform is a glossary, which the major goal of this and of the working group is to help the ocean community use consistent language across communicating uncertainty, across quantifying uncertainty. And many of the terms that we have listed here originate from the international vocabulary of metrology. We have basic and general concepts and associated terms which are published by the Joint Committee for Guides in Metrology. We work closely with the science philosopher on developing this glossary, Wendy, who gave us input on interpretation of words in scientific literature, how best to represent it, and how to shape this glossary so to make it consistent. We are working to add more terms. Readers of this can request definitions we added, and examples to illustrate definitions. We are working to increase the terms that are listed in the glossary. So the next steps for the working group, currently there's a push to add more content on the website. We are reaching beyond the working group members for blog posts, code, and lectures. Any ideas or suggestions from any of you is most welcome. If you would like to write a blog post on your work or contribute to the code repository, we'll be happy to work with you on that. We are also working towards special issue journal collection, specifically on uncertainty quantification for oceanography, relevant to strategies and best practices for ocean UQ. The working group will work on an overview article for the special collection, which the goal is to have this in combination with the summer school, the shaping of this article. We also welcome other articles from the broader physical oceanography data community on, for instance, on specific variables such as SST, salinity, sea level, as well as modeling and data assimilation. The timeline is to have this special collection open for 1.5 years or so. We are working with, and we've discussed different journals to approach for this special collection. And then finally, the next major step is the summer school itself, the organization of the summer school. We have narrowed down the dates for the summer school. Initially, the plan was to have this in 2023 summer, but then this has been moved to the following year, summer 2024. Since this year, it quite didn't work out to organize everything as we were coming out of the pandemic. The timeline was a bit too short. So we plan to host this summer school in July 2024 in Miami. We have secured the location. Shane is the local host there. We have also got some computing support through the university there. We plan to bring together expertise from the in situ, satellite, and modeling communities to foster intra and inter-community dialogue. We'll be reaching out beyond the working group members to have as lecturers at this summer school. We also hope that the discussions at this summer school will help towards building consensus on understanding about ocean UQ, identify gaps, and recommend actions to address them in the future. And this summer school will also be a great occasion to develop pedagogical materials for students to be hosted. We plan to host about 15 to 20 graduate students. We have funding through the working group to host this and organize this summer school. We'll be developing pedagogical lectures through both the working group members as well as external hosts, external lecturers that we'll reach out to. We plan to have lectures in the morning and then hands-on exercises and group activities in the afternoon, where students will be forming small groups of 3 or 4 students each, and they'll each be assigned a mentor. One of the lecturers will act as a mentor for each group, and they'll work through Jupyter notebooks or other exercises designed by the working group as a group activity. The working group members will contribute to the afternoon hands-on activities. We already have small subgroups within the working group that are working on Jupyter notebooks and other material for the summer school. And we are open to suggestions on what you think would be most beneficial to the community as we organize this summer school. The plan is to have the lecturers finalized by fall, and then advertise the summer school late fall, like so AGU, AMS, all big conferences advertise the summer school, welcome student applications by late Jan, early Feb deadline, and then we finalize the list of student participants by March, late winter, early spring. And then the summer school will be organized, as I mentioned, in July 2024 in Miami. Yeah, so those were the updates I had from the working group over this past year. Yeah, I welcome any questions or feedback on this. Thanks.
Thanks, Anish. Yeah, so as always, we'll take any questions. Just use the raise hand feature and we'll follow the queue. I see Gokhan is up first.
Anish, just a quick, well, two questions. But one was, why do you have so few, or why are you planning to have only like 15 to 20 students? This might be an interesting topic, and there might be broad interest. And I thought that it was quite a small group of students.
Yeah, great question, Gokhan. I think the main constraint is the funding. We have secured about 90K funding. I think most of it has to be used for US students. So the students will be only within US. Mike would be able to address that better if international students are welcome. But we are willing to expand it more than 20 students if the funding is available. The plan is to have a 1 week summer school, potentially 2 weeks. We haven't nailed down the exact dates, whether to have a 1 week summer school and then a workshop after, or just a summer school throughout.
If people,
and then we would also be.
Yeah, if people pay their own way, are you going to be open to that?
Yeah, I think if people are willing to pay their own way, we would be willing to host them. There would be some constraint at the venue itself of how many people we can host, but I think that's more than just 20 plus lecturers. So we have got the auditorium plus some classrooms at the University of Miami.
Thank you.
So yeah, just to address some of this. So we haven't yet determined all the costs for this meeting yet. So, getting the venue secured and looking at the limitations of the location there at University of Miami. I think for the plenary lectures that will be in the auditorium there at Rasmus, and so there's ample space for a large number. I think when they break out and they're working on projects in the afternoon, there could be some space limitations that limit the number of people to participate. I don't know that we've really gotten into details about the support of international scientists, early career scientists. I will say that certainly has an impact on the budget. For some of these international meetings that we're supporting this year, we've seen such a dramatic cost increase for airfares. But we've got to develop the budget better, and so that's one limiting factor. The venue would be another. And then of course there'll be a selection process. So to determine who attends. Again, I think one of the things, and I guess I'll ask this question of you, Anish, in terms of the developing of the curricula for the summer school, will there be a venue, perhaps on the website, if it lives beyond the working lifetime of the working group, or the sharing of this information with the academic community in terms of putting this material into the bloodstream of training of our next generation scientists, so that some of the lessons that are being learned and best practices that we have the opportunity to share that in the curricula for students. Have you guys given that some thought?
Yeah, we have, Mike, and I think the plan is to host. We have a section on the website which is currently empty for recorded lectures. We plan to host all the lectures from the summer school itself there. And again, the design was not to limit it to the summer school. We could have more than just the summer school lectures there. All the code and Jupyter notebooks that are developed, they can be hosted, like I already mentioned, in the code section of the web platform. So whatever is developed for the summer school will live beyond the summer school on the web platform. And in addition to that, we are planning to write peer-reviewed articles that would come out of the summer school, right? So that would be another way that whatever comes out of the summer school would live beyond the working group's lifetime.
Well, I don't see, Sam, I don't know if you're still moderating, but does anyone have any other questions? I don't see any other hands raised. So Sam, did you want to take this? Go, Kyle.
Yeah.
When is the working group expiring?
Yeah, so technically it was expiring this year, but we got a 1-year extension because of the pandemic and delays due to the pandemic. So it would expire next summer. I think August.
Okay, can you tell a little bit more about how was your interaction with a diverse set of members? Was it successful in your opinion? And what was sort of positives and negatives?
Yeah, I would say my personal opinion was it was mixed, and some of it was because of the pandemic. Like, during the pandemic, everyone just got really busy, and it really put brakes on some of the activity that we had got going in 2019. We had started developing blog posts and everything else. Me personally as well, during the pandemic, it was very difficult to dedicate a lot of time to what's mostly seen as a service, right? Like it's not part of any of our regular jobs. So that's been a challenge, but overall, I would say it's been a great interaction of different expertise, from observationalists, modelers, also having like the science philosopher Wendy on the team, and like interacting with her, and statisticians like Adam Sikulski and Mikhail Kusla, who don't usually attend our regular conferences, I would say, but they were engaged in like and language was not a barrier because they were already collaborating with people in our field. So that was really good, I would say, of having expertise that are not usually part of oceanography teams to be there and share expertise from their field.
Thank you.
Hi, Irina Marinov here. So just kind of a heads up that as a part of the POS panel here at the August meeting, we will have a session on validation of climate model systems with current observations. So we'll have a few invited speakers, and we'll talk about model evaluation packages. I think just kind of to keep in mind and come over, you'll be there. I guess what I would like to see as a, the teacher in me who takes it to students and so forth is, I would like to learn and see on websites that kind of show, metrics and prediction skills and so forth, and just packages for, Python and MATLAB and different packages that kind of a summary or a collection of packages that we can take to our students to teach them the skills. I didn't understand if you have something like that also in mind, or if you're working on something like this, like benchmarking packages and stuff like that, and like just kind of a listing, here are the major things that are going on and how to use them and so forth.
I would say the summer school material would be one place where we are planning for benchmark tutorials that can be directly taken into like a class, right, and have students work on them. So that definitely is one place. We did plan for a lot more material than just the summer school, and we hope that over the next coming year we can add more to the website. There is some pedagogical like blog posts and code on the website currently, which is again like mainly for education and not really it's not beyond research at this point.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm interested in. Right. I'm interested in the teaching aspects primarily. and
yeah.
kind of translation, so we don't always start from the beginning, and how to move the new generation of students coming in kind of fast without having to go through all the steps that we ourselves had to go through. What is kind of how can we do things faster than we did them in the past, so we don't have to do the same, being lost with an open code, then rewriting the codes from the beginning, etc., etc. That's kind of what I'm struggling with.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, and I probably did not mention this during my talk, but our working group came out of the POS panels activities itself. The first thing, Kyla, Shane, and I, all three of us were part of the POS panel. We were co-chairs of POS panel, and we had organized a session at like the Hawaii Ocean Orbs event in 2018, I think, 2018 or 2019. And that's when the motivation to have a larger working group, because there were challenges and the community was not together on Ocean UQ. So bringing expertise from different fields was seen as a benefit for this activity.
Excellent. Well, that brings us about to our time. So another round of applause for Aneesh, and thanks for coming out and giving this working group update. And as always, the recording will be going up on our YouTube page. This is the final working group update in our webinar series, so thanks everybody for coming out for the whole thing. And I hope you feel a little more prepared for the summit now, and I guess we will see you in Seattle.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day, everybody.